guys, it's Joey. So welcome back to I Can't Witch Without, the series in which each week we take a look at a different element which is incorporated into my witchcraft practice on a regular basis. This week we are looking at broom negatal, and negatal is the Ogham, and why everything in shot is slightly different will become abundantly clear, and why we're focusing on broom will also become clear, hopefully, with any luck. And we're going to sort of discuss all of that in a minute. I'm going to have a little bit of an introductory section here first. So first off, the disclaimer for the I Can't Witch Without series. This is not to say you require any of the products to be a witch. It's just a way of looking at different things I use regularly within my practice. And we draw usually on two resources, which is the Scots Cunningham Encyclopedia of Herbal Magic, of herbs, magical herbs, brains in there somewhere, and then the Compendium of Herbal Magic by Paul Barrell. These provide two bouncing off points, two starting points for discussion. I like giving two resources. I think it helps. It means that if you have those resources available, it means you can follow along or go and have a look at those interpretations and then see how you feel from those. So, if you follow the Starry Eyed Facebook page, and if not, why not? Off you go. Go go sign up, because when we get 3,000 likes on the Facebook page, I will do another giveaway. You heard it here first. The Facebook page is www.facebook.com/starryeyed supplies, and on the Facebook page we now share and discuss all sorts of witchy things. We have witchy news, we have interesting articles, we have crystal grids, both mine and others that I find beautiful and want to share. I share my spells and spell works and spell ideas and crystal meanings and things of that nature on there. There's tons of information for your online books of shadows and all sorts of interesting stuff, not just sharing the store. So it's a little bit of a witchy lifestyle on the Facebook page. It's well worth checking out. And like I said, if we hit 3,000 likes, we're going to have another giveaway. Right, so if you follow the Facebook page, then you know that yesterday began the month of negatal. Negatal is the Celtic Ogham. Now, arguably the signing of Ogham to monthly worship is a modern practice, not practiced by the Druids, and is more of something that was introduced by Graves in his White Goddess book, and he has got quite a lot to answer for. Negatal is often known as the reed by neo-pagans in new pagan thought processes. However, in the further back you go, this seems to be presented by Graves and isn't backed up in the history. Graves sort of put forward that it was reed, and it was backed up by its use as reed in the Celtic tree oracle. Celtic tree oracle. However, for more academic uses of the Ogham as far as authenticity, negatal is thought to represent the fern or broom, which we're going to be looking at for the purposes of this video. There is also an interpretation of negatal as wheat or wheat shaft, which is why we have this here in shot. So we have some broom herb here and an actual little broom here, which is actually cinnamon, so it's kind of cheating, but it's a visual prop, it's a visual aid. And then we have sort of the other meanings of negatal as presented by different theories of interpretation, I suppose. And it's one of those things that is just best left to your individual feeling. If you think it's more authentic, more in touch with roots to go with broom, then that's something you should go with. However, if you've been using reed since word go and this doesn't sit comfortably with you, or you've been using Witchcraft for all this time and it doesn't feel comfortable to you to swap up, then don't. I know there are some people that, I believe it's reed, they actually swap out for a different energy completely. So it's one of those odd little idiosyncrasies, I guess. Idiosyncrasies, that. Yeah. But it's one of those weird things that sort of comes up within modern practices and is worth paying attention to. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to be looking at broom and the meaning of broom in a herbal fashion for witchy witchcraft. And we're also going to be taking a look at broom in terms of its Ogham representation, which is important to me as part of being a Celtic witch. So first and foremost, we'll go with the herbal meanings, seeing as that is the format we always follow. So from Cunningham's book, there are a lot of folk names for broom. Bainal, Basin, Besom, Besom, Bison, Briam, Broomtops, Brum, Genista, Green Broom, Irish Broom, Irish Tops, Link, Scotch Broom, Hogweed. Given as masculine, planet Mars, element air, powers of purification, protection, wind, spells and divination. Magical uses are given as being used in purification and protection spells and is hung in the home to keep evil out. Also, an infusion of broom sprinkled through the house exorcises poltergeists. Although the infusion was once used as a drink to increase psychic powers, this can be dangerous because the plant is slightly poisonous, so carry instead for this purpose. To raise the winds, throw broom into the air while invoking the spirits of air, preferably from a mountain top. We'd have a job in England. Hilltop maybe. To calm the winds, burn broom and bury the ashes. If you do outdoor spells, which is the best place to perform magic, according to Cunningham, sweep the ground with the broom prior to your workings if it grows nearby. So that's the Cunningham book. And moving on to the Herbal Compendium. Herb of consecration, herb of Mars, magical herb, religious herb, invocational to Bladaweth. Broom has a mixed reputation. Christian law at times considered it cursed, believing the seed pods made noise when Mary and Joseph passed nearby. In other cultures it is considered a symbol of good fortune. The Master Book of Herbalism suggests that this may be connected to the politics of the new Christian religion, replacing customs and symbolism of the old pagan religion. Usage. Broom is excellent for creating a sacred space. It makes an excellent ritual broom for sweeping any physical debris away, as well as unwanted energy. The flowers are considered symbols of good fortune and plenty. The blooms may be picked, dried and added to magical workings to increase your good fortune, but only if the plant is approached with humility and a fair exchange made with its deva before you begin your harvest. I think that's an important lesson for all herbal appropriation within witchcraft. Small bunches of broom may be gathered and dried, which make an asperger for your ritual circle. An asperger is whereby you would use it to sprinkle water of some description around your ritual space, around your circle. The herb is ideally suited for hand fastings used to fashion a broom over which the newly joined couple will leap into their future. Also, side note here that you can actually do that in terms of Samhain or Halloween, and jumping over a candle or jumping over a broom is one of those traditions which is a physical representation of leaping from one witch's year to another, and is something that I have long done. I always do it, even if it's just me and a tea light. Oh, it's just mocking myself in my own head, but it's a really, really wonderful practice with regards to using an item such as a broom, and if you have a broom, God, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? But I know what I mean. You know what I mean. Then it adds extra layers of purification magic to this one simple ritualistic act in which you cross a threshold, you cross a barrier into a new year. When studying a 9 card of any suit of the minor arcana in tarot, broom may be used to better understand the nature of the card and the changes life brings, as indicated with the cards themselves, of the 9s. Okie dokie. So, in terms of its Ogham work, from Stephanie Woodfield's Dark Goddess book, we have a quick meaning here of Negatal as broom. I had to make sure I could find at least a couple of people who referenced Negatal as broom rather than read. So divinational meaning healing, sweeping away negative energy. Reverse meaning illness and disease, the need for healing. Tree lore, broom was traditionally used for the handles of a witch's broom and is used to banish negative energy. Broom's yellow flowers make it a solar plant, connecting it to the sun and regeneration. Broom's healing qualities can help us sweep away both emotional and physical illness. Reverse negatal also indicates emotional imbalances, depression, rather than a physical illness, magical uses, emotional balance, cleansing rituals, and banishing negativity. From the Tree Ogham by Glennie Kindred, which I highly recommend you get if you... In fact, I'm going to show it because hang on. This is the Tree Ogham by Glennie Kindred. It's a very small leaflety book. However, it is one of my favourite books on the Ogham. I enjoy all of her work to a great degree, and as part of a Celtic tree-based path walking, which I adore tree magic in all forms. I think Glennie Kindred is right on the money for a lot of what she says. Right, so from her book, broom is used for cleaning up, soul or astral travel, and restoring harmony. Underlying energy. The first and most obvious association with the broom is that of cleaning up or making a clean sweep. This can be done on the physical, mental, psychic, and spiritual level. Physically clear out and clean your living space. Throw or give away any things that are no longer relevant to you or which hold you back because of their past associations and are sort of tying you to the past. Creating harmony and light in your living space will greatly affect how you are when you are in it. You can cleanse the space by burning dried sage, but there are many other methods to clearing energy. Find out which works for you. So before we move on to the rest of what she's saying, I think I'm going to take this point and run with it a little bit as part and parcel of talking about Halloween Samhain energies. So here Glennie Kindred is talking about the physical act of cleaning one's space, of having a tidy, clean space, and how it affects us on an energy level, on an emotional mood level, and it has a very interesting psychological effect. That effect that when you've cleaned your whole house and it all looks nice and tidy and nice and clean, and you're like, oh, it just feels better. And that's a psychological thing that's going on in your head. Obviously. Sorry, I was distracted by the birds flying at the window. And that's something to bear in mind for when we are in the lead up to Halloween and Samhain. That's what I will be spending most of tomorrow doing, probably, is having a good clean out of the house, making sure there's no dirt and debris which is going to hang on to any negative energies, because dirt does tend to have this negative feel, this negative connotation when it comes to not only our psychological mind states but our magical mind states as well. When there is a lot of dust and dirt and grime and you know, anything down that side of things, it really does drag us down on a mental level, emotional level, and of course a magical level. And it is argued by some magical practitioners that sort of the, you know, cobwebs and dirt and things, they actually cling on to negative energy. How you feel about that is largely up to you. I think there is merit to the idea of a good physical cleaning can really help you on an emotional level, on a psychological level, and therefore your mind and your emotions are going to be far clearer when it comes to engaging in spiritual work. And of course, on this level, broom, on the physical level, is really a tool. It's a tool. It feels like a very earthy tool, if you ask me. It's made of wood, and arguably you can make arguments for other elements, given that broom is considered, at least in the Stephanie Woodfield book, to be a solar plant and a masculine plant and a fire plant, and in the herbal compendiums. However, there is an earthy element to it in my mind, and it may be just the combining of earth and fire which makes it a really good physical cleanser as well as a spiritual cleanser, because not only are you burning away all that negative energy with the energy of fire, but you're grounding that off and keeping yourself grounded in the present by having the tool, the physical broom, and the physical energy and the act of exercise, if you like, of cleaning a broom. Not to discount the fact that they are also long associated with witches in history, and Samhain being one of the most witchy, magical times of the year. So let's go back to the Glenikindrig book. Sometimes it is the aura which needs cleansing. Entities can become attached to you without you knowing. They can be draining and need to be cleared off. Smoking. Sorry, Glenikindrig just threw a curveball and I was like, what? I'm going to read to you what it says, and this is no lie, right? Smoking dope causes holes in your aura which take 7 years to heal and cause constant psychic leaks which rob you of your vital energy. I wasn't expecting to hear the word smoking, or see the word smoking dope in the Glenikindrig book, but there you go. You can cleanse the aura by burning dried sage and wafting the smoke around the outside of the body, but if you suspect you need a stronger cleaning or healing, it's probably a good idea to seek a spiritual or psychic healer if you are not adept yourself. He or she will be able to sense any areas which need attention, and you will have the necessary skills to promote healing, and they will give you the tools to facilitate this process: visualization exercises, meditation exercises, and affirmations, and so forth. It's interesting that she only mentions saging oneself. It's not my first port of call. I do enjoy a good sage smudge stick, but it has to be coupled with other things, particularly frankincense and myrrh usually. And I've already talked at length about the sort of cleansing power of sound in the crystal video. So if the recent crystal video that I did about my relationships with crystals, so I won't go over all that again, but go check that video out for talking about cleansing with sound. Communicating with broom. The broom is most often found in wild places. It's a sheltering plant offering protection from the wind. It is probably better to link with a group of plants, but that is up to you. In order to get a piece of wood, large enough to make your 13th Ogham, you will have to cut quite a large piece, so why not make yourself a brush with what is left. Bind the stalks together with string and to make a handle. The broom is associated with astral or soul travel. The broom was the vehicle which is used to travel on, in inverted commas, and would have been made out of broom. It has narcotic properties which tie in with this. So the plant broom is tied up with a couple of notions thereby which are associated very much with witches and Samhain to a large degree, and this is the idea of soul travel and astral travel. A lot of witches will partake in ritual that involves divination and soul travel, or changing their state of consciousness on Samhain. Changing one's state of consciousness is done in a number of ways. Some people incorporate fasting, some people incorporate flying ointments, some people incorporate meditation, drumming, dance, song, and so on and so forth. Anything that is utilized in the heightening or adjusting or altering of one's senses, of one's perceptions, changing one's vibration, one's energy level, in order to better commune with spirits around them, to heighten their awareness. It's done for all sorts of reasons, to better understand one's higher self, that's Samhain, to help one commune with the spirits of the dead or one's ancestors, or to help one receive messages more easily from spirit in undertaking acts of divination, and Samhain being a prime time of divination, because you may, as many witches do, as indeed I do a tarot reading or a divinational reading for the entire year, giving you an overview of what's to come in the next 12 months. It may be to help you engage in certain powerful forms of spell work. Depending on the practitioner, some people don't feel comfortable doing spells at the festival days. Some do. They are indeed powerful days of power. Powerful days of power. Powerful days of spiritual energy and magic, and your personal power will be heightened and you will resonate strongly. And of course the veil is thinner at this time of the year, which makes everything a little bit easier. You can commune with spirits more easily, you can make requests more easily, and so on and so forth. So, I decided to do broom this week because I felt it was a good herb to really correspond with Samhain. I think it works really well with the energies around at the moment. The purification side of broom is something that always fascinates me. The ritualistic use of broom in circle casting, of cleansing a space, both with this physical sweep and it having this spiritual significance as well, so it being a physical act which is backed up in a spiritual, magical, energetic sense, is something I think is really interesting. And the sort of movement of sweeping is something which I think is really interesting. It's almost a form of dance when you think about it. It's crossing the body with your ritual tool, because you will literally go from, when your hands are on a broom, it's down from one side and you move up across the body, generally speaking. And it's just that elevation of what one is doing in the physical sense, and you are elevating the room to a cleaner state of being, you are elevating the energies to a cleaner, purified state, and cleansing away any negative energy. In terms of Negatal, in terms of the Ogham, Negatal is one of the Oghams which I felt personally was so much more centered in the realm of the mind, particularly with its cleaning and cleansing and healing of mental conditions, of cleansing out sadness, of helping us purify away blocks which are hampering our emotional well-being, and in terms of dealing with things such as depression. Emotional based illnesses are something which aren't necessarily focused on with regards to a lot of the Ogham, and for me Negatal is the one that really speaks to healthy mind, and it interlinks the physical with a healthy mind in a number of ways, most of which we have already described. The sort of physical act of cleaning one's home and the effect that has on you as an individual, on a mental level, on an emotional level. With broom being a solar plant, it's also worth really thinking about how seasonal affective disorder, SAD, can affect people and really affect people, which is the lowering levels of light. As in this hemisphere, in the northern hemisphere, Samhain indicates us going real deep into the dark half of the year. It's getting darker and darker and darker until, of course, Yule. And this can affect a lot of people. The lack of light and the changing of the weather can really get people down. So I think with the month really starting with Negator, with Broom, it's really worth bearing in mind that this amazing herb, and this amazing Ogham for that matter, can really help us when it comes to mental clarity and really looking to take care of ourselves on an emotional level. And that ties in with the energies of Samhain. What do we wish to banish? What do we wish to purify? What do we wish to leave behind? What are the behaviours in which we have been engaging which are bad for our emotional health? Taking responsibility for ourselves and our emotions and our responses to emotive situations in order to help cleanse ourselves as well as balance ourselves on an emotional level. I think Negator really talks about personal responsibility in a way that is often sidestepped in New Age philosophies or neo-pagan philosophies. There is the idea of cutting and shedding all that which no longer serves, but Broom helps to remind us that it is our personal responsibility not only to look after ourselves, but to be careful of how we are behaving and our physical presence within all emotional states, how we are speaking, how we are presenting ourselves, how our words affect other people's emotional states, and to purify out ourselves to make sure that we are the example we wish to. We are the example by which to lead, so that that's the acceptable level within our lives. So if we do not speak ill, and we do not allow our emotional states to overcome us, and we do not allow our words to fly out and harm, then it cannot be, justified anybody else doing it to us, because we're not doing it to anyone else. We are the example, and to live by a higher standard, to cleanse ourselves and look to be the best version of ourselves, which is something I say all the time. Which has a knock-on effect, of course, on our emotional states, our mental states, and our spiritual and magical states. So I think that's all I wanted to cover. I will double check. Just to back up, from the spirit of old Ogham meanings, Negator is given as creating order from chaos, progression through vigilance, harmony of will. And I think that kind of backs up everything I was just saying about taking responsibility for oneself, cleansing out your energy, cleansing out your home, but also giving yourself a good thorough cleansing this Samhain, and looking to who you want to be in the next year, rather than who you have been in the past year. So I hope you have a very happy Samhain or Halloween, however you choose to celebrate or not. Get jumping over those brooms. Many blessings.